just didn't listen.
Okay, coming back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now that you've had some time to talk to your group, I'm going to randomly call on some people through my app again. Oh, Louise just stepped out, so that's okay. Eddie, can you share your thoughts, what your group talked about on Cesar's writing? Did he hit 5 of those things, or 6 of those things? Can you speak a little louder? Are you sure there wasn't? So I'm going to reread his passage again. This time, listen very carefully, and I want your group, just your group, to talk about whether or not you hit those 6 things. Okay? So let me read it, and then we can discuss it. Everyone else should also be listening. When you are here, you see the sunset, people walking on the beach. I feel like the water is nice on my feet, and then the sand as well. You hear seagulls calling, and you feel at peace. I think maybe a wedding could have happened here, because it's so peaceful. I imagine the sun going down. So I gave him a 3. I gave him a 3. Why do you think I gave him a 3?
Because he didn't use it.
Oh, this one. He didn't imagine himself there. So he said, I think a wedding could have happened here. You know how you could write that, but put yourself in that story? Instead of saying that I think a wedding could have happened here, you could have said, I was part of the wedding. Or say, my sister was getting married here, and I was part of the wedding party. Now you have just put yourself in the story. Now you are the character in the story. Now you're writing from inside the story. Do you understand that? Okay. So, Denaya, what is the first thing you need to look for when you are writing from inside the story? What's the first thing? What do you ask yourself? What do you see? Great job. Leslie, what is the second thing you ask yourself? What do you feel? Eric, can you please repeat what Leslie said? What is the second thing you ask yourself when you are writing from inside the story?
What do you feel?
What do you feel? Jonathan, can you tell me what is the third thing you gotta ask yourself when you're writing from inside the story?
What do you hear in the story, or passage, or yes or
Paulina, can you please repeat what Jonathan said? What is the third thing you gotta ask yourself when you're writing from inside the story? What do you hear?
I hear birds.
Okay, Elisha's not here. Julie, what is the fourth thing that you need to consider when you're writing from inside the story? Imagine yourself there. Thank you, Julie. Paulina, what is the fifth thing that you need to think about when you are writing from inside the story? Huh? What is something you think? What? You think? that what? It's okay. She got it right. I just want to hear her louder. Yeah. What do you think happened there? Good job. Jose, the last thing you need to consider is what?
What else do you imagine?
What else do you imagine? Okay. Great job, Jose. Okay, now for 30 seconds. I remember telling you the most important component to writing in from inside the story. So now, within your group, talk amongst your group about what that component is. What is the most important thing to consider when you're writing from inside the story? Come to your group now, 30 seconds. Group that gets it right gets a point. Coming back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once again, I'm going to use the app to randomly call on Eric's room. What is the most important component in writing from inside the story?
Make sure you include yourself in the image.
Great. Putting yourself as a character within that photo or within that story when you're writing your video. Great job. So 1 point for this group. Okay, so now I want to see if you actually understand how to write from inside the story, because it's really important. Give me a 0 to a 5 on how comfortable you will feel about writing from inside the story. I see 5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 4. Paulina 3, I'll check back with you. Andrea. Eric is 5. Cesar is 5. Waiting for 100% of class to show me their understanding. Leslie is 5. Eddie's 3. I'll check back with you. And Paulina. Okay. So we're gonna practice. It's a really hard concept to do. So for the rest of class, we're gonna have another image, and you're gonna write another one like this. This time, you're all gonna shoot for 4. Okay. My goal is that the whole class is going to get a 4. Make sure that you're checking all these 6 things. If you don't have these 6 things, you're probably not there yet. Okay. Once you're done, I will collect those sheets, and then you go into your draft vignette, and then you fix what is not you writing from inside that story. Okay. As you are doing this, I will check in with individual people to make sure that you are where you're supposed to be with your draft and writing from inside the story. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on whether or not you understand what you're supposed to be doing. Waiting. Jonathan, heads up.
Can you repeat that?
Yes, I will repeat that. So, in a moment, I will project a picture. You're going to write about that picture, imagine yourself inside that picture, and making sure that you hit all these points. Once you're done, you're just going to open up your computer and revise your draft vignette so that you're writing from inside the story. While you're doing all this, I will check in with individual people about your draft. Okay? Now, thumbs up or thumbs down, whether or not you understand that expectation. still waiting for people to put their heads up. I know it's late in the afternoon. Waiting for 100% of class. I will not move on until I see that you all understand the expectation of what you're supposed to be doing.
Same thing but with a different picture?
Edwin, can you please tell us what you're supposed to be doing in a moment?
You have to write another story, and then after you're done, you have to go to your vignette round.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to use Class Mojo again, and I'm going to call out a random person. When you are called out, go ahead and sit at the chair and share out what your interpretation of writing from inside the story. I'm gonna wait. I'm actually going to repeat my direction. People were talking over me, and then that's not appropriate. So when I call on you randomly using this app, you're gonna get up, sit in the chair quickly, share out your story, and we'll have 2 people share out during this time. Okay? So make sure that you have your story ready. I'm going to call on Luz. Go ahead and take a seat. No, check your chair. That was the direction.
Can she wear the crown?
Sit, quick, share. Remember that the expectation is when Luz is sharing out, you are not speaking. You are treating this as a quiz. In 3, 2, 1. Luz, go ahead.
Myself in the process saying, help us say, and I hear little kids crying, saying, Mom. Also, I see people saying things to each other, and I also imagine people saying, fighting, and
So that's all you've written down? So I think you could definitely push it a little more to be a little more elaborate. You're being very literal. When I say literal, I mean like you're just saying, I see this, I saw that, I hear this, I feel that. You're not being very narrative about it. Does that make sense? So we'll work on it. Everyone give Luz 2 claps. There's 2 claps.
Wow.
A round of applause. I don't give 2 claps. Okay, thank you, Luz. All right, randomly selecting Yuli. Yuli, take a seat, share out quickly. If we have time, we'll have another person to share out. So in 3, 2, 1, you're quiet and Yuli's sharing out.
I see a million people walking around with buildings around them. I feel that people are marching for they can't get what they want. I hear people screaming their words for they can't hear what they are saying. I imagine myself right there with people beside me marching. I think that people with the signs will be happy. Something else I imagine is me walking with the people.
Okay, so someone raise their hand and tell me what do you think she's missing? Because she's missing 1 bullet. Yes, Danaya.
What happened?
You don't know?
What happened?
So you wanna take 30 seconds to think about it? Jose, you feel like you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, Jose.
She didn't imagine what could happen.
She did imagine. She did imagine. What's the other? You two. Talk to each other. What is the other thing? Put your hand down. I want Jose and Danaya to speak to each other for 10 seconds. She did imagine. She did say that she she felt, she saw. What did she not do? Talk to Jose. Do you feel like you have an answer? Talk to Jose and see if he agrees.
I think it's what
Do you have another?
She didn't imagine herself there.
She did not imagine herself there. So she imagined what was happening there, but what was your first line that you said, Yuli?
I see a million people walking around.
Okay, she said, I see millions of people walking around.
Oh.
Instead of saying, I see millions of people walking around, why don't you put yourself as one of those people and say, I'm walking around amongst these millions of people?
I'm smart.
Do you understand the difference between that? Because she was just writing from outside the story. But if she had just changed that little tiny part of saying, I'm one of the million people that was walking around in the street, then you are now putting yourself in that story. You are now the character in that story. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. It's a really hard concept, and I appreciate you for trying. Right now, we're going to go back to our seats. We are going to pack up, and I will collect those sheets, and I'll grade you tonight. We actually only have 30 seconds left before class ends. I appreciate your enthusiasm. We'll share out tomorrow morning. How about that?
It feels like Black Friday all over.
Okay, so go back to your seat.
Am I going to get a 0 because